Good evening. You're watching AWANI Tonight with me, Saraya Mia. The HR Ministry has lodged a report with the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, following findings by the Public Accounts Committee, PAC, and Auditor General's report involving HRD Corp. The MACC confirmed this, adding that it will review all documents submitted by the ministry on the instructions of its Minister, Stephen Sim.
The National Audit Department's report released on Thursday revealed that HRD Corp's investment panel did not report its investment activities appropriately to its board of directors. Suspicious real estate deals and high-risk investments were some of the issues identified by the PAC in its report. One such deal was the purchase of Menara Ikhlas for 202.5 million ringgit in February 2021, where a deposit of 120 million ringgit was paid up front to a company named Crystal Clear Technology. Meanwhile, Stephen has said that his ministry is open to any relevant party wanting to conduct further investigations into its agencies in response to the report's findings. He said that the auditing process covered HRD Corp's operations from 2019 to 2023. He had took over the ministry portfolio in mid-December 2023.
It is premature to equate the poor governance highlighted in the HRD Corp audit report to the 1MDB scandal, says Fami Fazil. The government spokesperson added that the administration has yet to obtain complete information on the matter.
Mungkin kita perlu penelitian dulu dan kita beri ruang kepada ahli-ahli parlimen untuk membahas dan menteri kesuma untuk memberikan jawapan di parlimen dulu. Belum masanya untuk kita membuat apa-apa pengklasifikasian seperti yang dicadangkan oleh puan tadi.
Fahmi said the Auditor General's report will be debated in Parliament next week and that ministers will reply to related questions only after that. Bernama reports that all papers related to the HRD Corp have been submitted to the MACC this morning for scrutiny. In other news, the police have opened 5 investigation papers and arrested 2 men during the Sungai Bakap by-election campaign period, which enters its final day today. Penang Police Chief Datuk Hamzah Ahmad says further investigations into all of these cases are underway. The 2 men was arrested for distributing pamphlets and disseminating illegal information. The Sungai Bakap state by-election is a straight clash between Pakatan Harapan candidate Johari Arifin and Perikatan Nasional candidate Abidin Ismail. It is being held following the death of incumbent Nur Zamri Latif on May 24th. According to the Election Commission, 39,222 registered voters are eligible to vote on Saturday. Datin Sri Rosmah Mansor has contended that 1MDB and 10 other entities could no longer sue her for 1.6 billion ringgit in alleged embezzled funds. According to her, this is because the plaintiffs are bound by a previous court's decision that the luxury goods within her possession were not proceeds from illegal activity. Rosmah noted that the Malaysian Sovereign Wealth Fund is bound to the Kuala Lumpur High Court's ruling made on November 14, 2022, which dismissed the government's forfeiture suit against her. It was in relation to items seized by authorities during a raid on a condominium at Pavilion Kuala Lumpur following the 2018 general elections. On May 9th, 1MDB, SRC, and 9 others filed the lawsuit against Rosmah, seeking 1.6 billion ringgit or $364 million belonging to them. The plaintiffs claimed that Rosmah had used the funds from the companies to purchase luxury items such as jewelry, watches, and handbags. They alleged that a total of 320 such payments, totaling $346 million were made. It's time for a quick break. We'll be right back after this.
Hello friends, this 11th and 13th July, come to Pavilion KL and Queens Bay Mall Penang to be entertained and meet your favourite stars from Astro Originals, The Great Resonance, star-studded cast. and Penang Lang, get ready to have a fun-filled session with Swan Curry Fishbowl hosts and be mesmerized by our classic Golden Melody stars. All this and more for you and your family to discover with the new Astro. It's that easy. See you there.
Welcome back. The Labour Party has secured a landslide victory in the UK general elections, bringing an end to 14 years of Conservative rule. Addressing supporters after the win, Labour leader and incoming Prime Minister Keir Starmer vows to bring change to the country.
We said we would end the chaos, and we will. We said we would turn the page, and we have. Today we start the next chapter, begin the work of change, the mission of national renewal, and start to rebuild our country. Thank you.
The centre-left Labour won a massive majority in the 650-seat parliament, while Rishi Sunak's Conservatives suffered their worst performance in the party's history. Around 250 Conservative lawmakers were ousted in the crushing defeat, including former Prime Minister Liz Truss and other senior ministers. Meanwhile, Starmer is projected to become the first opposition leader to lead his party into government in 27 years, after Tony Blair in 1997. He will come into power at a time where the country is facing a series of challenges, including a cost of living crisis, tax burdens, and failing public services.
Now, in his final speech before tendering his resignation as British Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak apologized for the Conservatives' worst electoral performance in modern times. He announced that he would also step down as party leader, though not immediately. Sunak also paid tribute to his rival, Keir Starmer, who will succeed him at Downing Street.
I am sorry. I have given this job my all, but you have sent a clear signal that the government of the United Kingdom must change, and yours is the only judgment that matters. I have heard your anger, your disappointment, and I take responsibility for this loss. Sir Keir Starmer will shortly become our Prime Minister. In this job, his successes will be all our successes, and I wish him and his family well. Whatever our disagreements in this campaign, he is a decent, public-spirited man who I respect.
With the UK seeing its first Labour government in 14 years, voters are shifting their stance. Rosmah Abdul Rahman from Bait Al Amanah shares what the results indicate about the current political climate in the UK.
5 key points. The first of which is a clear preference for the UK's voters and their preference for the austerity measures to end. I think that they're very much frustrated with the austerity under Conservative rule, and they would like to see a change and pivot from that. And building on to my second point, and that is voters are feeling very much frustrated over the poor trajectory of how the Tory administrations have been going since 2010. And to add to that, there's another point that the thin majority in certain seats that we see, such as Naz Shah's Bradford West constituency versus independent candidates who had perhaps stronger Gaza stances, could mean an increase in foreign affairs interests within the public. If we could pivot a bit to Scotland, Labour is actually did not gain seats in the eastern coast of Scotland versus its much stronger gains in the south of Scotland. And this could be because of renewed interest or persistent interest in the population towards the North Sea drilling operations. So the political climate could see much more discussions over North Sea oil and gas and how this may contrast with Labour's clean energy policies. So that's something that could be a point of contention in the current political climate. And finally, one more point to make is that Labour did not fully achieve its goal of attracting left-leaning Tories who instead voted for the Lib Dems. So we can see that the political climate is also experiencing many voters reconsidering their political stances, perhaps. So this could mean a new wave in how voters act and vote in future elections as well.
In the last few hours, congratulations have been pouring in from world leaders on Keir Starmer's win. Charisma outlines Starmer's key priorities as he takes the helm at 10 Downing Street.
It kind of correlates with the list of issues that voters are concerned about. And so the first one is to deliver economic stability. I think stability is something that the UK is craving, especially after the tumultuous period concerning many, many PMs in a very short period of time. So Sir Keir Starmer will be looking to deliver economic stability with tough spending rules so they can grow their economy and to keep taxes, inflation, and mortgages as low as possible. And so the second task for Sir Keir Starmer and his Labour government is, of course, to try and target the NHS. And a lot of what's been said is to reduce the backlog of appointments by increasing the number of appointments each week by 40,000. So they are mentioning that they will crack down on tax avoidance and, certain tax loopholes to fund this. Number 3 is to touch on immigration, which is, of course, a very hot topic in the UK, of course. And they are taking a different stance compared to the Tories, who would, if they were remaining in power, perhaps continue the Rwanda scheme. But with Labour now taking charge, they are interested in launching a new border security command. So this is a much softer approach, which may not necessarily be any less effective, but in my view, it's a more holistic approach to this. So that's also something that Sir Keir Starmer will be looking to focus on.
However, Charisma noted that Labour's landslide victory comes with high expectations for Starmer to perform and keep his word.
And so overall, with this in mind, Starmer is kind of trying to attempt to address the central pain points of his voter base, and they are really much trying to focus on domestic change before considering broader agendas, essentially a country-first strategy. And with so much political currency and a huge landslide win, everyone is holding Sir Keir Starmer to a very high standard. And people voted Labour. There's a certain assumption between this analyst circle that people voted Labour to kick the Tories out rather than directly for their policies. So this means that people do hold him to a high standard, but they could be more patient as everyone knows he has to undo 14 years of disappointing Conservative performance.
Separately, French voters will head back to the polls this Sunday for the second round of parliamentary elections. Despite Marine Le Pen's National Rally Party securing a significant victory in the first round, recent polls indicate the far-right party is unlikely to achieve an absolute majority on Sunday.
Based on 5 surveys released between Wednesday and Friday, the National Rally and its allies are projected to secure between 190 and 250 of the 577 seats in the National Assembly. This falls short of the 289 seats needed to pass bills easily and push through its agenda. In France, the presidency is the most powerful political office, granting broad authority to govern by decree. However, major domestic policy changes and key legislation, such as spending bills or constitutional amendments, require parliamentary approval, particularly from the National Assembly. The National Rally, France's leading nationalist anti-immigrant far-right party, has had local electoral successes and sent nearly 90 lawmakers to the lower house in 2022, but it has never governed the country. In anticipation of potential unrest, French authorities will deploy about 30,000 police nationwide on Sunday night after the election runoff.
Now that wraps up AWANI tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Saraya Mia and we'll see you again.